Remember this formula. That is what you have to do in this chapter. All right. Then and there I will give you important portions to memorize, master. Please mark it. This equation is most important for you. Calculation can be given using this. Understand the factors here. The gravitational force between, it might be between Earth and other planets, or Sun and Earth, or between any two planets. In all, the formula that we can use is F is equal to G times M1 times M2, where M1 is it is attraction between two masses, right? Hence, M1 is the first mass, M2 is the second mass. It may be big or small, right? Irrespective of the size of the mass, product of their masses over the distance between them, square of the distance between them. Okay, I switched this one. Will give you the gravitational force. Okay. I'll switch off that one. Yeah, I put off this and on this. Solved. Problem solved. So you need to find the force of attraction between these two masses. You need the distance between them, square the distance between them, and you understand the factors that is happening, right? It is directly, the force is directly proportional to the masses and indirectly proportional to the distances. That means what? As the distance is closer and closer, the forces will be square. It is squared. When you reduce the distance, force will be increasing. When you increase the distance, force will be reducing. Squared, doubled or tripled, doubled. Remember the fraction. Last point, weight. I already told you the G has to be understood by you to calculate the weight of the object. So far I'm talking about mass, right? You need to learn one more word, which is G. How we get this G value? The weight of an object is the total gravitational force exerted on it by all other objects in the universe, right? It is on the earth. We measure in earth, any object that you measure in earth is due to gravity. You cannot ignore gravity. At the surface of the earth, we can neglect all the other gravitational forces. So an object weight is given by, generally speaking, the weight of the object is given by mass times G, right? Mg is the value. So far you are using the value mg. How is this mg? Charger? You come and sit here. You use any point, I think it's working now. Generally speaking, we say W is equal to mg, right? How is this mg coined? Come on, let's understand from the force of attraction. We already have the equation for force of gravity equal to weight, right? On earth, when you include gravity, it is called the weight. Weight is always measured in newtons. Remember this point, it is in newtons. And the formula for force of gravity is given by this value, G times mg times the particular object that you are measuring over r square, the distance between them, right? The centroidal distance, I mean the center to center distance, that is most important. Center of the object to the center of the earth. That is very, very small. We never bother about it, right? We never actually measure it, but we can use this constant to include the gravity. How is this coined? Come on. If you take this example one, right, between earth and a body, if G is the gravitational constant, M is the mass of the earth, M is the mass of the object or anybody that you're working in, right? It may be a product, it may be a machine or a building, and the distance between the center of the earth to the object, right? R is the center of the distance between center of the earth to the object. If it is two different objects, the distance between two different objects. To get the G value, we are finding out what is the force of attraction of the earth towards other objects on the earth, right? When you take an object on earth, we have this force and the distance apart is also R. When you do this one, you can coin G times ME times RE square as the pen. You can block this one. You can block this gentleman as G. That is why the formula comes out to be W times W is equal to mg. When you separate this G, okay, when you separate this G, you will have what is called G is equal to GME over RE square, wherein, I repeat, G is the gravitational constant. If you remember, you write. Otherwise, in the exams and assessment, you will be given the formula sheet. Please follow the formula sheet to write down. It is 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square over kilogram square times ME is the mass of the earth. R square, RE square is the radius of the earth. Okay, we use all these terms to calculate the value. We assume that all the objects are attracted towards the center of the earth, towards the axis of the earth. That's why we substitute always the radius. Okay, we assume that all the objects are attracted towards the center of or center axis of the earth. So we use the value radius of the earth to find the common value or the factor G. In other words, acceleration due to gravity. Is this clear? So whenever you ask to calculate weight, use this formula, and the expansion for G you don't have to do. Rather, if you substitute the factorial value, you know the value of this, right? You know the value of this, you know the value of this, you know value of this, you know value of this. These are all the fact. These are all numbers, right? Last time also we solved one question using mass of Earth, mass of Sun, right? Mass of Earth is 5.87 in 10 power 24 and so on. If you put all this number into it, you will arrive at 9.81 meter per second square as the value of gravitational constant, or not gravitational, acceleration due to gravity. Always substitute this value whenever you want to substitute G. This number is obtained from this one, okay? 9.81 or 9.8, any number can do. Sometimes colloquially the engineer, when they want to communicate to the laborers at the site, they just multiply by 10. 9.8 is approximately equal to 10, right? So just multiply by 10, convert into newtons or kilogram, vice versa. All right. So understand this factor where we get this number. That's it. Followed by this question I solved. I put the copy paste from the actual question itself so that there is no error for you to understand. You can do it. You can take it. Solve this question and also the last question. Okay. This one. It is for you to solve. You can check with me the answer. Right. Some more on satellite motion. Very important chapter, satellite motion. Some of the questions. Remember, I have given you the chapter 6 and 7 as the test for you. Okay. The coming test on 18 will be MCQ. All MCQ, multiple choice question. Is that okay? How many questions you want? 20 questions? 2 chapters? You are evaluated for 15%. How many questions you want MCQ? 15 question, 10 question, 7 question. Which number you want? MCQ. It is conducted for 1.5 hours because 15 marks, right? We can even reduce to 1 hour, just 1 hour test. All right. Short questions only, very short questions, 2 mark question, like very short question, conducted for 1 hour. MCQ. How many questions you want? You come out with one number and put it there, because it is for your learning, testing and assessing your learning. I don't want to force to. Unmute please and talk clearly. All right. If you don't have any option now, you can later put in the chat box how many questions you want for MCQA. We will finally decide it. I just ask your opinion. Then it can be categorized. Number 1, satellite. Yeah, how many of you join? Second question for 1 hour. It's too much. Yeah, there's option from our. Hey, we have 3 friends here. 3 students are attending class. 3 students are attending class in the campus. Congratulate them. They are successfully vaccinated and attending class. They are back to normal already. Rest of you also should come to normal. Come on. I download the attendance. What? The MCQA, the test 1, the test 2, that is going to come on 18 November. Objective. 15. I take a middle number. Just each 2 mark question that all the definitions I changed to question only, all the definitions, whatever there in the slides, and a little bit thinking. No, his portion, the test is over already. That is the pattern that he followed. This test is fully MCQ. From the beginning, I put already. Yeah. I put MCQ in the beginning itself. You remember in the teaching plan, you can see. Easy for me to assess and give you the result on the day. You don't have to wait longer because I have another assignment and then another test. The exams 18 November. Okay, come on, let's continue the class. All right, you decide the number. I'll leave it to you. But I download attendance already. You have to attend on time. 97 only join. 5 more missing. Okay. Anyway, good. You attend on time. Right. Okay. I'm here. Satellite motion. A satellite is any body that is orbiting the Earth, Sun, or other massive body. See this, the rotation of the Earth, rotation of other planets are all very good examples of our own study in physics. Okay, we are studying about fully, my subject is fully on circular motion, rotation, angular rotation, and so on. The Earth rotation and the planetary systems are very good example with which only they are in orbit, they are in rotating. We are estimating each and every quantity. Last time we did, I will review later what are the quantities we calculated and what are going to do that. Right. It can be categorized as natural satellites or man-made satellites. Both which are in orbit are due to physics behind that we are learning today. We already learned centripetal force, right? The force with which it is acting towards the center when it is in rotation. Satellite motion is called as projectile motion, right? Projectile motion is an example. I mean, the satellite motion is an example one. Projectile motion can be any motion in arc, not in a linear way, not in rotating, right? Something like arc, right? Revolving, maybe half circle or full circle. It depends on the purpose. Satellite motion. All satellites are moon is moving in orbit where the center of the orbit is at the center of the Earth. Because the gravitational force always acts towards the center of the Earth, right? It should be towards the center of, not any other place. It is acting towards center of the Earth. Later you study about this geometric center, right? We can call this as center of mass or center of geometric center if it is symmetric body. Later you will know what is it and why is important. But for now, understand all the forces are directed towards the center or towards the central axis. Okay, depending on the position. The force supplies the centripetal force, which we already studied. So I repeat, the satellite motion or any planetary motion is also due to centripetal force exerted towards center of the other object. It may be moon to sun, moon to Earth, or Earth to sun, and so on. And the same formula holds good. Okay, if you want to calculate the force of attraction or force of gravity between two objects or particles, you can make use of this formula, which is G times me times m over r square, center to center distance between the bodies. If the satellite moves in circular motion, then the centripetal force acting upon this orbiting satellite is given by this one, right? It is defined by V, right? Here you are seeing a linear or translational variable. It is not rotation. If the object is moving in a linear path, right, in X direction only or in only in Y direction, then you can still make use of the formula, which is force of force of centripetal force is given by ms v square over r, which we studied already, right? This formula we already studied. The centripetal force is the result of the gravitation force. Okay, we call, if it is between objects, we call this as a centripetal force. If it is between the planet systems, then we call this as a gravitational force. Okay. And this is also the basic principle of launching a satellite, right? When you design the proper radius, you can exactly put the satellite or any new object on its orbit. How to design? Based on the force of attraction. You start with equate the centripetal force. All of you know that centripetal force is the one which is causing the circular motion. Equate that to the gravitational force. When you balance these two, you can achieve the value of the R, which will make your object in orbit or always rotating with the radius R. I mean, here is a small r, right? Here is a small r. You can have the things rotating with R always. That is important. Okay. You have to design the object to put in the orbit by calculating the R value. How do you do that? Equate the centripetal force or balance the centripetal force to the gravitational. If this is over, it cannot be in orbit, right? It is always being attracted by the Earth. Since they are balanced, they are in orbit. If this is more also, it will be going closer. So you need to balance these two forces that is acting on the body. By that, you can maintain the orbit, or you can keep the satellite moving always in rotation for a dedicated time or period of time. Okay, this is how they do it. All the satellites are in motion, right? They have their own boundary, right? It is not only one country. Many countries, they are sending their own satellite. Each one have their own orbit. They are all in proper orbit by means of proper design of the R, radius, distance between the center of the Earth to the center of the orbit, the object, satellite or the body. So this is one of the example using the same good old equation. Force is equal to this one. Because of the same equation to solve this problem, you can do it. Summarize. We learn the law of gravitation gives you the force of gravity, and then the gravitational constant, right? This is also, if you substitute the values, you will get this value. 6.67 into 10 power minus 11 Newton meter square over kilogram square. Remember, this constant are taken from, you can take from formula sheet if you have to solve. With this, circular motion due to gravitation is over. Let me continue with the next chapter. Any question? Try to solve the remaining two questions there. It's enough you practice these similar types will be important for your exams and assessment. I don't go beyond this due to time factor, because each chapter itself is a module for us. We learn like that. Very difficult to squeeze it into 1 hour or 2 hour lecture. Okay, come on. Okay, I keep here like this. It's easy for me to edit. Okay, come on. Let's continue with the 7th chapter, which is rotational work, energy, and momentum. Right. Under this, I will cover concept of moment of inertia, torque, combined rotation and translation. Lastly, angular momentum. Right. The CLO covered are CLO 1 and 2, which say you have to do what is called, you need to explain, you need to understand the principle, concept, mechanism, principle, concept, mechanism, right? You must be able to do these two. Well, mainly understanding, no application, no calculation, much calculation involved in this chapter. Understanding and demonstration, or by means of some setup or some understanding about the demo. I will show some demo also. You need to answer. So understanding of the phenomenon, understanding of the process, equation, and the variables involved is the most important in this chapter. Rather than if it is C3, application will come. CLO, C3, you cover only C1 and C2. C1 is understanding, knowledge. C2 is knowledge. C1 is knowledge, C2 is understanding. So you need to know get the knowledge and understand the quantities discussed here. And then application is very little covered in this chapter. So I cover most of the theory here. Just to review last class, we have covered angular displacement. Hope you all know the equations, the meaning of the equation. Although I provide in the formula sheet in the assessments, you please understand the factors. Angular displacement, angular velocity, angular acceleration, relation between angular and translation quantities, right? When you are given with the V, right, you can change to omega. When you are given with acceleration, you can change to alpha. The relation also, you know you have the equations already. Equations for uniformly accelerated motion, centripetal acceleration and centripetal force. We covered these things in the last 2 weeks. And these are the formula to review. Just now I told you. It's recording, right? Guy? Excuse me? It's recording, right? Okay. What's your name? Okay. Come on. Final summary for the Newton's law of gravitation also. We have studied how to calculate the force of gravity by making use of this formula. Today, we are going to cover up on moment of inertia, which is very interesting. I really need your good attention to understand the facts. Okay. Moment of inertia. Second one, combined rotational and translational kinetic energy, torque, angular momentum. There are many things which we can cover under this topic, but I cover these 4. I repeat, today you're going to learn about moment. What is moment of inertia? What is the implication of that? What is a torque? What is an angular momentum? Actually, I arranged it like this. Okay. Moment of inertia. Moment of inertia is due to its mass. Number 1, I give you a simple statement of what is moment of inertia. Due to its inertia, a body has a mass, right? What is mass? I keep saying mass, mass, mass. What is the definition of mass? Anybody? Definition of mass. My handwriting. What's the definition of mass? Amount of matter in a given volume, right? And density is equal to mass by volume. From there you get the other way around. You can define the mass as density times. Once you know the density, you can calculate the mass, right? And this guy, amount of matter present in a given volume. Given volume, how much you can occupy, that is a mass. If this guy is very high, I have more inertia. I am very powerful in resisting the force acting on me. That is the meaning of moment of inertia. Okay. So far you are learning. See, in physics, you have number 1, you have started with the space, right, or the distance. When distance is changing, you have velocity. When velocity is changing, you have acceleration. When acceleration is changing, you have force, and so on. And then momentum, and then work, and then energy. Energy, right? I don't go into your basic studies that you already completed, but I'm telling you how you are learning. Work, after that is energy, right? Momentum, doing some work, and how much energy is required to do that work. And then followed by many other things that you will study in your mechanical or civil or any other engineering. Mechanics of, right? That is you will learn later. This is how the logic of studying, right? In this case, inertia is the next physical quantity that you are learning today. I show you a simple example of how the inertia is being defined. Come on, please listen to this video. You cannot select. Why I have to do this? I also put this this one in your slide. Please go through this video. You can quickly understand what is inertia. I already told you it is due to the mass, and beyond that, what is existing.
Do you want to make $1,000 a day and then $1,000 a day every day? You will
Yes, the screen is not sharing.
One moment. I know. Just one moment. Suddenly I got into a, what do you call, advertisement. Okay, I share now. All of you listen carefully. It is showing the section, right? I already told you mass. Mass is inside the volume. Come on.
Plank of wood, which we would like to use to cross a canal. It has a rectangular cross section.
You can hear the voice.
Let's say we have a plank of wood, which we would like to use to cross a canal.
So they're going to build a bridge to cross the river or any waterway. Come on. How does the moment of inertia?
It has a rectangular cross section, and so we could either use it like we have done here, or we could rotate it onto its side, like this. Intuitively, we can tell that the plank will be stiffer if the load is applied to the shorter side of the cross section. Some cross sections are much more efficient at resisting bending than others. The further the material is spread from the bending axis, the stiffer a cross section tends to be. The cross section on the right has more material located far from the bending axis, and so is better at resisting bending, even though both cross sections have the same area. This concept of resistance to bending can be quantified by calculating the area moment of inertia, which is also sometimes called the second moment of area. The area moment of inertia reflects how the area of a cross-section is distributed relative to a particular axis, and so is a measure of how much resistance the cross-section has to bending. The I-beam locates the majority of the material as far as possible from the bending axis, and so is a very efficient cross-section. This is why it is so commonly used in construction.
I stop here. So do you understand the fact when the material, the mass or the material is most important in designing a strong material or resisting, right? The resistance, here is a resistance, talking about the resistance to the overcoming load is given due to its inertia, due to its mass. And there is a good mass, good inertia, right? Inertia is good, it can resist. Come on. Hope you understood in the video when it was in the rectangular, I mean in this view, right? In this view, right? In this view, plan view, and the load is acting on it, right? It has only a section of this much only, right? On the other hand, when it is vertical, right? When the plank is vertical, when you cut this section, you have a very big cross section which has, this is a centroidal axis. It has more material up below and above. So due to this material, it can withstand the load correctly, isn't it? If it is, it's okay. Because of the material, it can withstand the load exactly. Come on, delete this. So this one is very good in resisting the load that is coming on it. Okay, the section is okay. On the other hand, the other section which has like this, the centroidal axis, it has only very little portion, right? Very little portion of material up and below or below the centroidal axis. So it cannot resist, then it is bending. It is bending like this, isn't it? It is bending like this. Okay. What moment of inertia? How does the material behaves for the external load? Here is an apparatus free to rotate around the vertical axis. See here, another example is also given here. When this object is rotated, last time it was a loading onto the member. This is a rotation, okay? When it is a rotation, when these two masses are closer, you have to give more force, isn't it? So here is an example to free to rotate around the vertical axis. To reduce the moment of inertia, lock the two equal mass cylinders close to the center of the horizontal shaft. So between these two cases, which is easier, which is tougher to rotate? Come on, answer me. Let this case A and case B. Which is easier to rotate? Which is easier to rotate?
A.
A, because the mass is very close, isn't it? Means what? Inertia is more. Inertia is more, it can resist, very good. On the other hand, the masses are very far. The masses are very far, right? Very far. So it is greater moment of inertia, harder to start. No, What is it? One moment. The definition. To increase amount of inertia, lock the two equal masses cylinder far from the cylinder of the horizontal axis. Harder to start. Resisting power is more, right? In resisting power is more if the material is more. Here the material is less, here the material is more. So this will resist more than this one. It is free to rotate, meaning what? It is not resisting at all, but this guy is resisting because more material. This is what we understand from this case of example. If you plug it mathematically, right? If you plug it mathematically, we start from defining kinetic energy, right? We saw until the forces, right? Then the next step is the kinetic energy. All of you might have studied in motion, equations of motion. Kinetic energy is given by half mv square. Remember this equation? Half mv square, right? The same equation when we use it for rotation, rotational object, the m is replaced by I and v is replaced by omega, because there is no linear or translational velocity, but the velocity is changed to angular velocity. So use the same equation using the appropriate notation as that of the phenomenon happening. This is for the rotation, rotational kinetic energy. Maybe I use the value in the same notation K. For rotation, we use the same equation, just change the value only. Mass is replaced by I, V is replaced by angular velocity. And then further, how to estimate the moment of inertia? Please listen carefully. You know very well, when the mass is more, it can resist more, right? And so you can take the value of mass, and also it is not only mass, it is also changing due to the distance between them. Hence another variable is coming in, right? Definition and derivation don't bother now. Now this is analytical equation, use this one. But when you go for higher classes, higher degree, you really use integration principle to come out with the actual value of the section. In that case, for now, it is defined first, this inertia is depending on the mass. If the mass is high, inertia is high because direct proportion. Mass is less, resisting power is less. Coming to air, right? Air, the distance. Air is the distance between the bodies that is working on it, or the force on the body which is subjected to. When you talk about the distance, if it is far away from the center or centroidal axis, the inertia will be high. If it is closer, inertia will be less. And combine between these two, just check between these two. If the mass is too high, right, or suddenly you change the distance for the same mass, you suddenly change the distance, right? What will happen to the inertia? I repeat, for the same mass, if you change the distance, what will happen to inertia? Well, are you following? I say the inertia is, first of all, we define the equation like this. Inertia is proportion to the mass, right? And then another variable also coming in, which is R, the distance between them, all right? What is the distance from the center or centroidal axis? If it is a beam, what is the, if it is a beam or member, what is the distance from the center? Which, this distance is going to give you the material, right? Material. So these two factors are governing the value of the moment of inertia. Mathematically, we can coin and get the equation as sigma. Maybe I have the equation here. Okay, this one, sigma. No, it's this one here. Summation of all the masses times square of the distance between the particle and the center or centroidal distance or the axis about which it is rotating. Clear? Can you answer me, for the same mass, if the distance is increased, will the inertia decrease or increase? Please think over the equation. What is the proportionality between M and R?
Increase.
How? Wrong answer. If the distance is increased,
Decrease.
Decreased because the mass
Decrease?
is decreased, right, towards the center. In this case, you take this example. Because the distance is increased, it will decrease. Because the distance is closer, it will increase. The resisting power will be increased. You cannot rotate it. This one hard to rotate, this one easy to rotate, isn't it? Means it is not resisting, it is resisting. Clear? It's because the mass from the center is very close. Here the mass from the center is very far, isn't it? Or there is no material, empty here, empty here. Okay, I give more examples, then you understand better. One moment. I have this example. Come on, this is also a good example for you to learn. Start from the solid one. The solid cylinder, when it is rotating, R is this much. Okay, R is this much. So the moment of inertia due to this solid body will be half mr square, right? Half mr square. Meaning what? The mass is due to the volume of the material from 0 to R. Clear? It has a good inertia. When you come to this gentleman, a hollow one of certain thickness, right? This much material is removed already. Clear? This much material is removed already. Automatically inertia will reduce. Now the inertia is depending on the net value. Net value, this one. Where I choose this one. Okay? Only this portion is acting for the inertia. The mass is due to this net value or net diameter of this hollow. So it will be less compared to this one. When you come to this one, even more less, because most of the material is removed, right? It is very far or most of the material is removed. The inertia or the mass is available only at this point, very far. Hence, the inertia will be reduced. It is free to rotate. What? Yes?
In the hollow cylinder, I couldn't understand it. How is it calculated? From the edge of the can to the center.
Yep. It is based on the mass, right? When you take the mass of this one, how do you calculate the mass? Volume, right? Volume times the density. The volume of the material is very high compared to this one. Am I right?
Okay.
The volume of the material is less here compared to this one because you have only this much material filled in. Hence, the inertia will be less and depending only on this material. So it is hard to rotate. It is a little more hard to rotate, and this is easy to rotate. Okay, easy to rotate because the material is very less, very thin. Only this much material is contributing. Inertia is very less. Inertia is very less. Only this much material contributing to the resistance of the force acting on it. Hence, it can easily rotate. Is the point clear to you? Gomu, is it clear?
Okay. Yes, miss. Yes, miss.
I give you this demonstration. One moment. One more demonstration important for you to learn. Yeah, I stopped the music. One moment, sir. One moment. Let me start this. Then I clarify. Yeah. You have to answer for this question. He will ask question in between. Get ready for the answer. And then you clarify. Okay. 1, 2, 3.
In this experiment, I have 2 food cans. One has milk, a liquid, and one has refried beans, pretty solid. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll the cans down the ramp, and the question is, which can will reach the bottom first?
For a while, huh? So the demonstration is given using 2 tins. One is with the beans, another one with milk. Okay, come on. The question here is the cans have essentially the same size, shape, and mass. And when it is released at the same time, which can will reach first? the refried beans can or milk can, or they will finish at the same time? What is your answer? Please put in the chat box. Don't worry if it is wrong answer. We will clarify you now. Because you are going to do MCQ, please think. You must have a critical thinking ability. Where's the other guy? Yeah?
Miss, can you say again what are the cans?
One is
milk
with beans,
and beans.
Another one with milk.
Okay.
High dense or low dense.
So you're asking which is gonna go faster on the slide?
Yeah, when it is slide at the same time, which will reach first at the bottom?
Okay.
Okay, keep the answer or put in the chat box. You will get the right answer now. Come on. Where are the two guys here?
Let's find out. As you can see, the can of milk won. This is because the can of refried beans acts as a solid cylinder rolling down the ramp, while the can of milk acts as a hollow cylinder with the milk acting as a sliding mass. More energy was required to spin the can of refried beans than to spin the can of milk, and therefore the milk won.
Is it clear? Yeah.
Let's find out.
Explain. Don't please.
As you can see, the can of milk won. This is because the can of refried beans acts as a solid cylinder rolling down the ramp, while the can of milk acts as a hollow cylinder with the milk acting as a sliding mass.
Okay.
More energy was required to spin the can of refried beans than to spin the can of milk, and therefore the milk won.
Okay.
Miss?
Yeah, I explain. Yeah.
So he means that the can of milk is lighter than the one that has beans, so it's faster?
Yes, correct. Number one point is you can explain due to energy required to move, due to density, all you can explain. Number one, let's start with our own moment of inertia. Come on, moment of inertia is due to the mass, right? Now in these two cans, number one is the milk, number two is the bean can. The bean can acts almost like a solid cylinder which is filled fully. The mass is full, so it can resist the rolling moment. Okay. In other words, you need more energy to push it forward. This is one of the example in unloading and loading process. We are not talking about just simple loading at your home. It is about loading and unloading at the harbor, at the airport, right? Very big, huge tons of weights are coming in. In that case, you need to know which one goes first, which one need to do, which one roll up, which one needs more energy to lift up. Either it is lifting or rolling like this. Come on. I repeat, the beans can is filled fully, the mass is occupied fully, act like a solid cylinder. The other one, milk, it is moving, it gives some space, right, hollow space, or otherwise the mass of the liquid filled in will be very less compared to the mass of refined beans can. Hence, the milk can reaches the first. Is the point clear? Because the bean can is more mass, it can resist more. The milk can, less mass, cannot resist, it can automatically rotate and reaching the ground. Is the point clear to you? Any question? If not, I continue with the slides. Same thing happening here. When it is a hollow cylinder, it will be less resisting force or less moment of inertia. If it is thick cylinder, more moment of inertia, more energy is required, and so more work is done, and so on. Okay, it depends on what is the work done to be, right? Moving, unloading, rotating, mixing, all are some works done at the end, isn't it? Your washing machine at the house is rotating and doing the work of cleaning. Your mixing plant is mixing the things to get your end product, right? So there is work done due to many physical quantities involved. One of them is inertia. All right. The formula for inertia is this one, which is mr square. For now, I give you this simple equation. Later, when you go for higher studies, you really derive it and it is varying for different section. Okay. Next point is the combined kinetic energy and kinetic energy.
Miss,
What? Yep.
Miss, could I see that formula again, Miss, for the inertia?
This is a basic equation. One moment, I'll select this one. Yeah. Yeah, already posted in CNS. You can check. Yes.
Miss?
Yeah.
I still don't understand how does the inertia decreases if we like increase the radius.
Repeat the question, please. How the inertia increase
or decrease when when the radius is changed?
Okay, one moment. This is a good example. This one. Do you understand this object? Here the radius is very high, isn't it? The material is available for the full of the radius, isn't it? But when you take this gentleman, there is no material available and it is very far. The material is available only at this point, isn't it? So inertia will be very low. Inertia will be very low. When the material goes farther from the center of the rotation or center of the moment, it may be a translational moment or rotation, automatically the inertia will reduce. It is free to rotate, meaning it is free to rotate. It cannot no longer resisting the material is no longer resisting the rotation motion. Free to rotate. This guy is a little bit slow. I mean, this is slow, this is slower. I mean, this is faster and this is fastest. Okay, cannot resist.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Come on. I have few examples also, but I really don't find time now to do that. Okay, come on. Combine. You see the video fully. I show only part of the video, the very beginning, moment of inertia. I have posted the video link. You please spend some time on it. You will understand. I repeat, it's a resisting power. The man is resisting because you can take your own example. You are 60 kg, right? Because you are 60 kg, there is a mass in it, right? Because of that, you can resist the gravity or atmospheric pressure that is acting on it. You keep moving or keep walking, right? This is one of the good examples that you resist the other forces acting on it. That is called inertia or due to mass of the material or object. Come on, next one is two things that we are comparing. One is translation, which is in the X or Y direction, which is always in the straight line or in the main highway. No U-turn, no X-turn, no 3 o'clock, 10 o'clock turning. Then straight away road, if you are traveling, it is called translation or linear or tangential. I should not use tangential here. Translation, just moving, keep moving in a straight line. Another one, rotating. The other object is rotating. How do you combine these two? Already we have equations relating this linear and rotation, right? You can write V in terms of omega. You can write A in terms of alpha, vice versa. An object can both rotate. Yeah. An object can both rotate. Is it here? An object can both rotate and translate. Okay, this is one way of motion. Some objects are doing this one. Bicycling, you keep moving, right? Bicycling, not bicycling. Here, bicycling. No, one moment. Good example is just a moving a pipeline. Water is moving from one part to another, just moving in this line. And then moving in which one object is spinning, right? The object is spinning, just rotating only. You stop the cycle, you rotate the wheel, then it is a rotation, just a rotation. Our washing machine is rotating, not translating. Washing machine is not moving. It is there and it is rotating the object only. That is good example of just rotation alone. Come on, there are some objects in the universe which can do both, translate and also rotate. You throw a ball, right? Throw a ball, tennis ball. It will rotate itself and also translate, right? Another example, good example is Earth. Earth rotates, spins itself and also translate, doing a rotational motion of 2 pi, right? One circle it is rotating. It is also a combination of translation and rotation.
Translation is not just a straight line, it can be a curved line, translation.
As long as there is no rotation, there is no angular displacement, you can take that as a translation. Yeah. Two operational, it is spinning itself and also rotating. I give one more example. Just now, the tennis ball when you throw also, it is rotating. It is not just going like this, rotating and then reaching another part, right? So there is a moment linearly and also rotating itself. Okay. Earth is a good example. It spins itself and also goes around the sun. So when you combine these two, this is pure rotation, this is pure translation. Wherein what you see, there was a good question from Gunmu. When the object is, when we are traveling, when we take U-turn, is it called as a rotation or translation, right? As long as the displacement is in linear direction, x, in terms of x plus, then it is a translation. When there is a change in angle, theta comes in automatically, you have a combination of translation and angular motion, right? Pure rotation, you have this example, center is there, right? It is always rotating about a center with a radius, dedicated radius. This center is most important. Please make note of this. I will also discuss this in all angular moment and also others. So the rotation always happens about the center with radius. If the center is removed, that is totally different case. So must be about the center with radius or at an velocity of omega, it is rotating. Okay, at a velocity of omega, it is rotating. It possesses translation velocity, but doesn't matter. I mean ignorant. It is ignorable, or the significant quantity that is with which it is rotating is angular velocity. It is also having translation velocity, but it is hidden, or otherwise it is overcome by the angular velocity. That is why it is in rotation. When it is cut, that is why the example also I show you video. When it is cut, right? When it is cut or the force is removed, automatically it will move in a linear direction. Pure translation is just keep going like this. VT only changing, right? Displacement from one place to another, or in X direction or Y direction or Z direction. No angle. Later I show one very good example of how the radian and degrees existing. Okay, but for remind me, I will give you the chart. So it is whenever there is a rotation or displacement in angle or radians, then it is a rotation. When the displacement in some meters, X meter, Y meter, Z meter, then it is called pure translation or displacement or transverse motion. Come on, angular. Come on, please understand this point also. I have some demonstration, but you need to understand the basic. We saw what is moment of inertia, what is the relation between rotation and pure translation. I just explain only, the equations comes later. Come on, let's learn the angular momentum, right? Angular momentum. To find the total moment of the rigid body of rotating with angular speed omega, first consider the thin slice of the object. This is a thin slice of object which is rotating. See, take this example. This is a slice of an object. Maybe imagine there's a circle. It is rotating about this y-axis. About this y-axis at a radius r. You consider a small mass mi on the object at a radius r, which is rotating with angular velocity omega and linear velocity v about this axis. Imagine in this situation, angular momentum, right? Again, momentum. What is momentum? I don't go for linear momentum. We are already studying from chapter 4 or 3. So what's the formula? Momentum. Anybody? Momentum is equal to, what is the formula? Momentum. M into V. Yeah, M into V. We simply say M into V. Same equation I'm going to use. What is the notation you use? Momentum. Let it be M. Actually, we later use it as a different one. That is conservation. Come on. M into V used for the translational or just in a linear direction. No rotation. Only displacement taking place in a linear direction. The same thing we can replace by M replaced by I and V replaced by omega. Later we will see how it is being coined. For now I don't disturb it. You know, I remove for a while. Okay. Remember this linear momentum M into V. Come here. What is V? Can we write the V in terms of R and omega? Can we write the V in terms of R and omega? I have M. Can we write the V in terms of R and omega? V is equal to R omega, correct? No, square I'll tell you later. What is the V is equal to? What is the value of V? Come on, check your formula sheet. What is V in terms of omega? V is equal to? Anybody? No answer. Okay, V is equal to R omega is the correct answer. R omega times one more R is depending on one more R. The momentum is depending on one more R. Multiply by one more R, you will get what is called momentum of this rotation or angular momentum denoted by L. Okay, denoted by L for the component I. So L is given by M times R times W or omega, or otherwise mr square into omega is the angular momentum, value of the angle. See, this is how they derive it. Okay, the dependence of R, actually we derive it very nicely from the mass. Go to the mass and then find out the energy, find out the work done. You will arrive at this one. But for now, I'm not going to derive it. I give you directly the value. I repeat from here, M into V, V I replace by R omega times R for the angular rotation. I get what is called mr square omega as the angular momentum. This is the main. It is not your centripetal force that causes the earth to rotate the sun. In addition to that, because if it is uniform, right, centripetal force is uniform, then we have no problem. Whenever it changes, then you come into picture what is called angular momentum. Check for the angular momentum. When angular momentum is the one that causes the body to rotate in its orbit, right? At any situation, it is still in its orbit, right? I mean to say there may be changes in the velocity, changes in the radius, right? A bit changes in the radius. In all, it is maintaining a regular or constant angular momentum. That is why it is still in orbit. It is not just centripetal force. It is due to angular momentum, which is given by mr square times omega. These three things play each other, and when this is increasing, this will automatically reduce or automatically increase. They play between R, omega and M to maintain a constant angular momentum to be in orbit and do the functioning. Maybe if it is a satellite, must send the data to the ground station. If it is a Earth, it is doing its own day and night and must change, keep changing. Otherwise, we are nowhere. So these operations are done because of the rotation, right? The rotation, and thus causing day and night or still in orbit around the sun. Okay, I repeat, the angular momentum is the main cause of Earth rotating the sun in addition to centripetal force. Like this, whenever there is a change or additional forces, additional units coming in, you need to learn other parameters as well. So this is a one step ahead of your angular velocity, angular displacement, and angular acceleration. On top, we are learning angular momentum. So the equation is given by L is equal to mr square omega. And then how is this coin in another term? I better remove this part here because I'm going to use this one separately. For now, I just hold it. Okay, later I do this part later when you go talk. Okay, angular momentum further. That's why I said you just replace the I by the mass by I, omega by V by the one I told you. Momentum in the linear way, it is defined as M into V. The M, if you replace by inertia, V you replace by omega, you will get what is called angular momentum. This is using angular velocity. For the linear velocity, it is m r square omega, right? This is also omega. This is also omega. In other words, this mr is I. Okay, mr square is I. So in simplified version, you have L is equal to I times omega, or you just remember in terms of this. From linear, you can go to angular. Okay, any question? All rotating about the axis, that is important. Without the axis, there is no rotation, right? Become translational or displacement kind of moment, right? Further to explain, the angular momentum of a rigid body rotating about the symmetric axis is parallel to the angular velocity. Yeah. If it is a symmetric object, what is symmetric object? Cutting section will leave equal halves on both sides, right? If it is a square, it is a symmetric, right? Circle also is a symmetric. Cut anywhere, you will have equal halves. So the kind of a geometry, symmetric geometry will have both the velocity and the momentum in the same direction. Both are vectors, both are in the same direction. If it is clockwise, this way. This one is what? Thumb is. It depends. Maybe sometimes some mechanics they use this as a clockwise and this as anti-clockwise. This is clockwise. This is anti-clockwise. Okay. So they follow each other. I mean to say, in any rotation, in any angular momentum, direction of angular velocity and angular momentum are the same, provided the geometry is symmetric. That's what we learn from here. This repetition of what we learn in the equation. I just show this video for more understanding. I don't know whether I can cover this by today. Okay, let me. You can see that one later after I complete this one as well. So far we studied the angular momentum, one step ahead of angular acceleration, right? In this case, I mean, third one that we are learning is torque. Number one, we learn moment of inertia. Number two is the angular momentum due to rotation about the symmetric axis mainly. And then third one is the torque. Torque is a measure of how much a force acting on an object causes the object to rotate. So torque is important to do any job, right? What is he doing? Opening the door. He's applying a force at this point, opening a door. And this lady also opening the door by applying a force at the end, right? Can you answer me why the knob of the door is always at the end? Can you answer me quickly? You're answering for inertia.
The further the force exerted from the fulcrum, the lesser the force needed.
Yeah, effort or energy needed to open, right? If it is at the middle, you have to push hard, isn't it? That is one of the example of inertia as well, right? The material is far, material is near. Okay, and that's why, and it is rotating about the hinge, right? The hinge is provided here. The hinge is provided here. The force is applied. Please, I brought these photographs for you to understand the direction of force and the moment. This lady is opening perpendicular and she's pushing like this, perpendicular to the slide, and the moment is in the other direction. Here, this one also very good example. He's pushing the door. The moment is in this direction. Or I draw the line sketch of this one, this lady one. If you draw the line sketch of this one, right, the lady opening the door, the hinge is here, right? The hinge is here. The force applied, line sketch, plan view. In the plan view, if you do it like this, isn't it? So this is the force applied. This is the hinge or what you call center. Let it be center. So the rotation is happening like this, right? The rotation is happening like this, right? Because of this, it will rotate to this position. So I repeat, the rotation must happen in a perpendicular direction, or the force and the work done is in opposite, I mean in perpendicular direction. Clear? That is why I brought this photograph. This is open and here is a hinge. When you draw the line sketch of this one, this is perpendicular. Force is perpendicular to the moment of the door. Clear? Same goes here. Hence, you need one force, one lever arm. We say this is lever arm or lever arm, whatever the name. Later I explain to you. You need two things to explain torque. Torque is a rotation or twisting moment. In our mechanics, we call this a twisting moment. Moment is moment, real moment itself, right? In simple word, but due to force. When force is applied at the end, the object is moving, right? And it is perpendicular to the force must be applied perpendicular to the object to make it move. Come on, in this case also, it's a couple. Here it is rotating, right? It is rotating. So the force is applied perpendicular to the object. This is the object and the force is applied perpendicular. Then it can cause the rotation or torque or twisting motion or rotational motion. And this is the axis of rotation. This is the axis of rotation. And then another example, good example. These are all to do some work at the end. Can we continue until this gentleman also will come? Okay, let me do this one. In drilling, right? In drilling operation, nailing operation, also what is happening here? The other photo, and this one. What is happening here? There is some. See the video here in the GIF file here. What is happening here? There is a work done. What is the work done? Nailing. You nail in, right? The object is here in the horizontal direction. The force is applied in a vertical direction, and so you can nail in or screw in or screw out. Okay, you can screw in or screw out. The force is acting in this direction or it is perpendicular to the object. Same goes here by rotation. This is rotation and translation. Another example is a good example for rotation and translation. The driller is rotated and also translated through the thickness of this material, isn't it? It is moved from here to here. Now the nail is complete. When the nail is completed, already translated here. There is a translation of this much distance by rotation. Okay. What is the value? Come on, don't unmute. I have to mute all them. Anything not clear in torque? Torque is due to the force, right? And is perpendicular to the material or the force, and the lever arm should be there to produce a torque or do some work. Well, yeah. And the distance, the perpendicular distance times the perpendicular distance. Well, I'll give some more example. Maybe you are clear in one moment. I have a picture, and this picture is very good for understanding. See here what's happening. Rotation, this is rotating, right? This is rotating. Because this force is applied, pulling force, this one is pulling force. Can you all see? Because the force is applied perpendicular to the body, the line, perpendicular to the line. And this force is applied perpendicular. This force is applied perpendicular. When it is applied perpendicular to the body, there is a work done, rotation is done. And if you want to calculate the measurement of the torque produced, it will be force times the perpendicular distance from the center of rotation to that force, point of the force. So this lever arm L2, right? This is L2. Lever arm times F2 will be the torque produced. Okay. If you want the torque produced by the force F2, it will be F2 times the L2. Force times the L2. Okay. Or otherwise, if it is this one, there is a pole here. You apply. Wait, it's shaking. Undo. You can also define simple way, the way you learn momentum. Why it's not deleting here? Okay, I draw somewhere here. If this is the something happened. Okay, if this is the thing, the force is applied, it will move, right? So the force into the distance is called what is called L, right? L2. For example, L2 or height 2. So if this is causing assume this is causing rotation. So the rotation force caused by the F2 at a height of L2, and the torque is given by F2 times L2. So you can measure like this torque value, provided you have the line of action, you have the lever arm. Lever arm is always perpendicular to the force. Don't take along the line. In the door is a good example for me. Okay, can you push the door from here or here along the line? Cannot, isn't it? You can only push the door along the perpendicular direction. This is my door, so I have to push perpendicularly. In this case, the lady is moving perpendicular, then only I can cause the moment, isn't it? Otherwise, it is not moving. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Force is applied perpendicular to the body. There are a few examples like this we can give. Nailing and then rotation of an object. I have also given a link to understand more about the torque here. One moment, let me check. Oh, I cannot copy it. To understand more about the torque, the formula is simple: force into the perpendicular distance or lever arm. One moment, let me check this. What happened to my slide? The answer first. Okay, I can do it now. All of you watch this video for 3 minutes and then to understand what is torque, and then we go for quizzes today. Not marked, quizzes on which chapter is pending? Okay, come on, all of you, please listen. There are about 15 students yet to complete your assignment. When I checked last time, it was almost done, but by mistake I saw for the other module. Yours is still pending. I extended the due. I will also post the link here. Whoever not completed the quizzes on 4th last class, please do it. In a while I post the link here so that you can complete it. All of you must complete for getting your attendance on 4th. Otherwise I will override as absent. I repeat, there are few students, I think 15, about 15, not yet completed your assignment on 4th. Quizzes for chapter 3. I post the link again here. All of you complete it to get the attendance.
The one is the one, the quiz is the one during the holidays, right?
Yeah. Okay. Oh, sorry. 1 minute, sir. I have 10 more minutes, sir. Okay, I will post the current one. Okay, you can go. I post the thing, you can play later. Okay, let me post the quizzes for today. If you have class, you can move. Later you do it. I have given the link there. Today, anytime you can finish. It is not assessed. Don't worry. Today is optional. You can attend anytime. But the last one, you must complete it. 1 moment. Any question? Okay. Let me post the quizzes. Give me half a minute. Ready already. Yeah, today. That you can do it later, or you keep moving. Also, you can do it. Not necessary to stay back here. You can move to next class. 1 moment. Okay, done. This is for chapter 7. Today is 1. I want to complete the review also by today. Otherwise, extend. Oh, what happened? Mute myself. Okay, chapter 7. Yeah, you can leave. You can leave, please. You can go ahead. Go there and sit down and do it. For this, I don't post link. Okay, for you, I post.
Yeah, I think the new question is posted to the team.
Okay, for now, let me run it. 1 moment. Because some students still there. We have another 5 minutes. They can do it. For you, I post in the link. Okay, start, please, everyone. Join. The join code is go by joinmyquizzes.com and then record. Let me share it better. I share it.
Miss, can you please send the link here?
We can get it. Or if you join the quiz, you have 5 more minutes, you can finish. Move to other class and then you start doing it. Okay, bye-bye.
Miss?
Take care.
Miss? Miss, where do I open this
I have given the
this
join
quiz?
code in the chat box. Go to joinmyquizzes.com.
There's no link. Could you please send the link?
In the code, you can run it. Okay, stop here. We have another 4 minutes. You can run it. If there's any difficult question, clarify immediately. Okay, back it first.
Sorry, miss. For the, are we able to join the quiz on 4th November that day? You said got some people didn't join. Miss?
Miss, the questions are not working here with me. I don't know.
Miss, are you speaking?
Miss, I finished the quiz. Can I leave? Miss? Miss, can you hear me? Professor? Miss? I have another session. Can I leave?